Hi everyone! All right, I finally am sitting at my new desk and I have my new background. So this is a very exciting video for me. Today we are talking about my most anticipated book releases for the month of May. I will try to break this video into genres so that if you're only looking for the book releases in that specific genre, you can skip down below. So let's of course start with the fantasy genre. There are quite a few fantasy releases that I am really looking forward to. The first being Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb. This is coming out May 2nd, and it is an adult fantasy novel. It says long banished dragons, revered as gods, return to the mortal realm in the first of this magical new epic fantasy trilogy from a best-selling author. Anything with dragons, I'm going to pick up. I know that this is the Goldsboro pick for the month of April, so I actually do expect that I will be receiving this shortly, and I will definitely be reading this one this year. It sounds excellent. It doesn't have the best early reviews. Like, it seems to be very polarizing. Some people loving it, some people not as much. So I'm curious to see where I land with it, but it sounds amazing and it's got dragons. So next fantasy release I have is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence, the first book in the Library trilogy. This is his newest series that he's releasing, and this one is expected to release on May 11th. This one says, a boy has lived his whole life trapped within a vast library older than empires and larger than cities. A girl has spent hers in a tiny settlement out on the dust where nightmares stalk and no one goes. The world has never even noticed them. That's about to change. Their stories spiral around each other across worlds and time. This is a tale of truth and lies and hearts and the blurring of one into another. A journey on which knowledge erodes certainty and on which, though the pen may be mightier than the sword, blood will be spilled and cities burned. I previously read The Book of the Ancestor. You can see it right behind me, and I really enjoyed that series, especially Grey Sister, which is being displayed. That book was amazing. So I'm very curious to check out his newest series. I haven't heard too much about it yet, but it does seem to be getting some good early reviews. So I'm really hoping I enjoy this one because I really liked his writing style in Book of the Ancestor. So really looking forward to that one. Next fantasy book I have is The Malevolent Seven by Sebastian de Castell, which is being released on May 16th. I don't know if this is the start of a new series or if this is a standalone. I can't quite tell, but it says 7 powerful mages want to make the world a better place. We're going to kill them first. So this one sounds like it follows a wizard who describes himself as a mercenary wondrist, which is fantastic. And so he is on the run. So it sounds like he gets invited to join a suicide mission against the 7 deadliest mages on the continent. So he's trying to recruit some very bad people to help him get the job done. And this just sounds like so much fun. I love taking the classic wizard trope and kind of turning it on its head and making them like evil mercenary wizards. I think that's great. And I am obsessed with Sebastian de Castell's writing after reading The Greatcoats. I only have the final book to go, but I love The Greatcoats so much. So I will truly read anything Sebastian de Castell writes, but I'm very excited for the sound of this. I think it sounds like so much fun. The next fantasy book I have is The Will of the Many by James Islington. This is the author who wrote the Lycanius trilogy, which you can see right there. And I've read the first book and really enjoyed it and still have to continue on in the series. So The Will of the Many is the start of a new series called The Hierarchy, and this is coming out on May 23rd. It says, at the elite Catanan Academy, a young fugitive uncovers layered mysteries and world-changing secrets in this new fantasy series. So it sounds like it is taking the magic school trope. It's putting these characters in an academy, and your main character is having to rise through the academy's ranks. And meanwhile, he is hiding his true identity because apparently, if they find out who he truly is at this academy, they will kill him. So this has been getting amazing early reviews, especially from a fellow booktuber named Petrik, who, if you haven't heard of, please go check out Petrik's channel. He's amazing. I'm going to link his channel down below. He loved this book. This might be his favorite book of the year so far, and he has me so excited to read it. I really like The Shadow of What Was Lost, the first book in the Licanius trilogy, so I'm very excited to be checking out something new from this author. I think this is his second series after the Licanius trilogy that's being released, so I'm very excited for it, and those early reviews have me so hyped. So that is another anticipated release for me. And then finally, the last May fantasy release I have is Witch King by Martha Wells. Martha Wells, of course, is the author of the Murderbot series, and I'm going to be honest with you all, I did not like All Systems Red by Martha Wells. I did not like the first book in the Murderbot series. So I know Martha Wells is kind of most famous for Murderbot, but she's done a ton of other stuff, and she also does a lot of fantasy. So I'm hoping that maybe her fantasy books instead of her sci-fi books work a lot better for me. This one comes out May 30th. This says it is a story of power and friendship, of trust and betrayal, and of the families we choose. I also believe this is going to be a standalone, which we love to see. We love to see some good epic fantasy standalones. I am loving that trend. So I'm hoping that this is going to really work for me. I definitely want to read it. I know it's been a very hyped release among the community, so definitely looking forward to this one. Those are all of the fantasy books I have that are coming out. Let's move on to more general fiction. This is going to kind of cover contemporary, historical fiction, thrillers. Let's start with Warrior Girl Unearthed by Angeline Boulley. This is the author of Firekeeper's Daughter, and I loved Firekeeper's Daughter. I loved the writing. It is a young adult mystery. Warrior Girl Unearthed sounds like another young adult mystery. The culture that was intertwined in Firekeeper's Daughter was beautiful. The themes were beautiful. I loved that book. So I am so excited that this author is releasing something different. I don't even care what it's about. I will check it out regardless. This one does say, Perry Firekeeper Birch was ready for her summer of slack, but instead, after a fender bender that was entirely not her fault, she's stuck working to pay back her Auntie Donis for repairs to the Jeep. You are following this character, Perry, as she is taking part in this summer program and meets these other outcasts in this summer program that she decides to go on this heist mission with to recover these stolen artifacts. It is a thrilling YA mystery about a native teen who must find a way to bring an ancestor home to her tribe. So again, sounds like one that's going to be very similar to Firekeeper's Daughter. I think I'm just going to adore this. The next one I have is The Daydreams by Laura Hinken, which is one that is by an author I've read from before. I read Happy and You Know It by Laura Hinken, and I really enjoyed it. It was like a mommy, juicy drama type book. And this one sounds like it is not at all mommy drama. It sounds like it is about the stars of a popular teen show from the early 2000s and the reunion special 13 years after their scandalous flame out that will either be their last chance at redemption or destroy them all for good. So that sounds, again, juicy, maybe not with moms, but with like child stars, and I am here for the juicy drama. I love it. So these kinds of books are always fun in between big epic fantasies, kind of take that break. This one comes out May 2nd. Really looking forward to it. The next one I have is A History of Burning by Janika Oza. This is also one that is coming out on May 2nd, and it says it is an epic, sweeping, historical debut novel spanning continents and a century, and how one act of survival can reverberate through generations. I love these types of sweeping, epic stories that follow like multiple generations of families or characters. It says it is an unforgettable tour de force, an intimate family saga of complicity and resistance about the stories we share, the ones that remain unspoken in the eternal search for home. Amazing. So I think that this is one that has like the potential to be all-time favorite status because of how powerful it sounds, how emotional it sounds. It has amazing early reviews, so I'm really, really looking forward to checking this one out. The next one I have is The Marriage Act by John Marrs. John Marrs is a very popular thriller author. I've previously read The Passengers by him, and I loved The Passengers. Such a fast-paced, action-packed sci-fi thriller. This one is also a dystopian sci-fi thriller. It says, what if marriage was the law? Dare you disobey? Britain, the near future. A right-wing government believes it has the answer to society's ills, the Sanctity of Marriage Act, which actively encourages marriage as the norm, punishing those who choose to remain single. But 4 couples are about to discover just how impossible relationships can be when the government is monitoring every aspect of our personal lives, monitoring every word, every minor disagreement, and will use every tool in its arsenal to ensure everyone will love, honor, and obey. This sounds really good. So I'm very much looking forward to that one. I think it sounds thrilling. The next one I have is The Half Moon by Mary Beth Keane. This one also comes out May 2nd. Lots of May 2nd releases. That's a big day for books. So this is one that I have another book by this author called Ask Again, Yes. And I haven't read it yet, but I've heard amazing things about it. So this is a contemporary fiction, and it is a magnificently told novel about the complexities of marriage, family, longing, and desire. Taking place over the course of one tumultuous week, The Half Moon carefully explores a marriage in crisis, what it takes to make a life with another person, and the true meaning of family. So all of those are themes that I really like exploring in my contemporary fiction. I'm definitely wanting to check out this author's works, so this is definitely one I have on my radar and would love to maybe have time to check out. Next one I have is called Lucky Girl by Irene Muchemi-Diritu. So this is one that is also coming out May 2nd. My goodness. It is a fiction with romance in it as well. So it's more like contemporary romance, but I don't know if this is truly like a full-on romance or just has like a romance subplot. So it says it is a book about longing for independence. A young sheltered Kenyan woman flees the expectations of her mother for a life in New York City that challenges all her beliefs about race, love, and family. Lucky Girl is a fierce and tender debut about the lives and loves we choose, what it meant to be an African immigrant in America at the turn of the millennium, and how a young woman finds a place for herself in the world. So as you can see, I think it's going to be more than just a romance novel. I think maybe there's a romance subplot in there, but I think that this sounds much more like contemporary fiction, exploring these themes of searching for your identity, searching for your home. So I think that this sounds gorgeous, and I would love to check it out. Next one I have is The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brammer. This is coming out May 9th, and it is a big-hearted, life-affirming debut about a death doula who, in caring for others at the end of their life, has forgotten how to live her own. For readers of The Midnight Library. Now, The Midnight Library, I enjoyed. I didn't love it. I thought there were parts of it that I really liked. But this one does sound like something that is kind of in that similar vein of exploring themes of death and living life to the fullest. And maybe I'll end up enjoying it a lot more than The Midnight Library because I love the idea of exploring those themes. So I think that this one sounds really like powerful and poignant. So I would love to check it out. Next one I have is The Senator's Wife by Liv Constantine. I read The Last Mrs. Parrish by this author, and it is one of my favorite thrillers of all time. So I'm always interested in checking out what Liv Constantine is writing and putting out there. This is her newest release. It says it is about a DC philanthropist suspects that her seemingly perfect employee is secretly plotting to steal her husband, her reputation, even her life, in this seductive novel of psychological suspense. Riveting, fast-paced, and full of unbelievable twists, The Senator's Wife is a psychological thriller that upends the private homes of those who walk the halls of power. Because when you have it all, you have everything to lose. Sounds so juicy. I love these kinds of thrillers. So I definitely am interested in picking this one up. I think it would be just a really fun, fast-paced time. And Liv Constantine's writing is so easy to just binge. It's so good. This one I have is The Endless Vessel by Charles Sewell. So this one comes out May 23rd, and I have read 2 books by Charles Sewell, The Oracle Year and Anyone. The Oracle Year was so much fun, easy 5 stars, and I really did enjoy Anyone as well. So I definitely am excited that this author is coming out with even more novels. It says that this one this is wild. It says it combines the wonder of the Midnight Library, the inventiveness of Ready Player One, and the artistry of Cloud Atlas. It explores the way we are all connected and what can happen when we lose our capacity for joy. I think it is a time travel sci-fi novel. I am so intrigued by those comparisons. It says, a few years from now, in a world similar to ours, there exists a sort of depression plague that people refer to as simply the gray. No one can predict whom it will afflict or how, but once infected, there's no coming back. So a young Hong Kong-based scientist, Lily Barnes, is trying to maintain her inner light in an increasingly dark world. The human race is dwindling and people fighting to push forward are increasingly rare. One day, Lily comes across something that seems to be addressing her directly, calling to her, asking her to follow a path to whatever lies at its end. Is this the endless vessel to happiness? She leaves her life behind and sets out through time and space to find out. How good does that sound? It sounds so good. So I'm so intrigued by this one. It just sounds like a totally different kind of sci-fi novel that I'm really, really wanting to explore more of. It sounds great. And that is all of the May releases that I have for you today. Are there any here that you're planning on checking out? What is your most anticipated May release? Leave those comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to, and for more information about getting exclusive content from me and further supporting the channel, you can check out my Patreon, which is in the description box down below. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!